Ever found yourself struggling with writing a literature review? It's a common plight. Many find themselves staring at a blank screen, unsure where to begin. The first hurdle is often understanding the topic. It can be like trying to decipher an alien language with all its jargon and complex concepts. Then there's the hunt for relevant sources. It's akin to searching for a needle in a haystack, with countless research papers, articles and books to sift through. But it doesn't stop there. Once you've gathered your sources, you're faced with the task of organizing the information. It's a bit like trying to put together a 1,000-piece puzzle without the picture on the box. And let's not forget about maintaining a critical eye, analyzing the data, and weaving it all together to form a coherent narrative. It's no wonder that writing a literature review can seem like an insurmountable task. The good news is, there are techniques available to help you with this process. One of the first techniques to consider is the inventory method. The inventory method is something akin to spring cleaning your resources. Just as you would sort and categorize items during a thorough house cleaning, the inventory method involves creating a list of all the sources that are relevant to your topic. Imagine that you're in a library surrounded by books, articles, and reports. Each piece of literature is a treasure trove of information waiting to be explored. But where do you start? This is where the inventory method comes in handy. Begin by systematically documenting all these resources in a list. It's like creating a map for your research journey. This list should include the author's name, the title of the work, its publication date, and key findings or arguments. But wait, it's not just about making a list. The real magic of the inventory method comes in when you start to structure this list. Now that you have a map, it's time to draw your route. Arrange the sources in a way that makes sense to you. It could be chronologically, thematically, or based on the significance of the sources to your research question. This structuring process is crucial because it helps you observe patterns and trends in the literature. You might find that certain themes are recurrent or that certain perspectives have been widely accepted or contested over time. It's like piecing together a puzzle and watching the bigger picture emerge. But remember, the inventory is not a static entity. As your research progresses, you may discover new sources or decide that some old ones are no longer relevant. This list is dynamic and should be updated regularly throughout your research journey. Finally, while this method might seem laborious at first, it's worth the effort. It provides a strong foundation for your literature review. It gives you a comprehensive understanding of the existing literature, helps you identify gaps, and guides you in framing your own research. By using the inventory method, you'll have a clear overview of your sources and the information they offer. And that, my friends, is the power of a well-organized inventory. Another technique that can be useful in writing a literature review is the compare or contrast method. This approach is all about examining different sources or theories and identifying their similarities and differences. It's like being a detective, looking for clues that can help you understand the bigger picture. Imagine you're writing a literature review on the impacts of climate change. You've got two articles in front of you. One argues that climate change has a significant effect on agricultural productivity, while the other claims it has minimal impact. What do? You bring out the compare or contrast technique. Start by identifying the key points in each article, jot them down. For the first article, the main argument could be that climate change, particularly global warming, disrupts the growth patterns of crops, leading to reduced yield. The second article might argue that technological advancements in farming can mitigate the effects of climate change, hence, the minimal impact. Now it's time to compare or contrast. In comparing, you could say, both articles recognize the existence of climate change and its potential effect on agriculture. They also acknowledge the role of human activity in climate change. You've highlighted a similarity in their viewpoints. On to contrasting. You could write, however, where they differ significantly is in their assessment of the extent of climate change's impact. While the first article asserts that the impact is significant, the second argues that it is minimal due to the influence of technological advancements in farming. By comparing and contrasting these articles, you've not only presented two different viewpoints, but you've also analyzed them. You've gone beyond simply stating what the articles say to discussing their similarities and differences. This technique can make your literature review more robust, comprehensive, and interesting to read. So there you have it. The compare or contrast method is a powerful tool in your literature review toolbox. Remember, it's all about highlighting the similarities or differences between various sources. This technique allows you to highlight the similarities or differences between various sources, making your review more engaging. The converge or diverge technique is another method you can use when writing a literature review. Now, what does this mean exactly? Simply put, it involves identifying where your sources agree, which is convergence, or where they disagree, which is divergence. This technique allows you to present a balanced view of the literature on your topic. Imagine you're writing a literature review on the impact of technology on education. You've gathered a range of sources, some of which support the idea that technology enhances learning, while others argue that it distracts students and hampers their academic progress. Here's where the converge or diverge technique comes into play. First, look at the areas where your sources converge. For instance, all your sources might agree that technology has drastically changed the way we educate. You can create a section in your review that discusses this point of convergence, citing the relevant sources and elaborating on their shared viewpoint. But what about the divergence? This is where it gets interesting. One group of sources might argue that technology enhances learning by providing access to a wealth of information and tools, while another group might contend that it distracts students and causes them to lose focus. To address this divergence, you could create two separate sections in your review. In the first, you discuss the positive impact of technology on education, citing the relevant sources and presenting their arguments. In the next section, you'd present the opposing viewpoint, again citing your sources and summarizing their arguments. This way, you're not just summarizing what each source says, you're highlighting the areas of agreement and disagreement among your sources, providing a more nuanced and comprehensive overview of the literature on your topic. Remember, the goal of a literature review is not to prove a point, but to present an objective overview of what the literature says about your topic. By using the converge or diverge technique, you can achieve this while also demonstrating your understanding of the complexities and nuances within the literature. The converge or diverge method allows you to present a balanced view of the literature on your topic. And that, my friends, is a key component of a well-written literature review. The final technique we'll discuss today is the departure method. This method is like setting sail on a voyage of discovery, where the aim is to uncover new or unique perspectives within the literature. It's all about breaking away from the norm and exploring less chartered territories of knowledge. Now let's imagine you're writing a literature review on the topic of climate change. You've done your inventory, compared and contrasted different findings, and even looked at how theories converge and diverge. Now it's time to depart. In the departure method, you'll be looking for those studies, theories, or perspectives that offer something different, something that deviates from the mainstream discussion. Perhaps it's a study that examines the impact of climate change on the migration patterns of birds, or a theory that looks at climate change from a socio-political perspective, considering how policies and power structures contribute to the crisis. These are the unique perspectives that the departure method seeks to highlight. But remember, the departure method isn't just about identifying these unique perspectives. It's also about discussing them in your review, explaining why they're unique and why they're important. So, in our climate change example, you wouldn't just mention the bird migration study or the socio-political theory. You'd also explain how these perspectives offer a fresh take on the topic, how they contribute to our understanding of climate change in ways that other research doesn't. And of course, just like with the other techniques, you'll need to tie these unique perspectives back to your research question, showing how they inform your study. Because in the end, that's what a literature review is all about. Building a foundation for your research, a foundation that's informed by a diverse range of perspectives, including those that dare to depart from the norm. By using the departure method, you can highlight innovative ideas or perspectives in your literature review. So, to recap, we've discussed 4 techniques you can use when writing a literature review. First off, we have the inventory technique. This involves creating a comprehensive list of all the relevant literature on your topic. It's like taking stock of what's out there and seeing how your research fits into the larger academic conversation. Next is the compare or contrast method. Here you are examining how different pieces of literature relate to each other. Are they saying similar things, or do they contradict each other? This technique helps highlight gaps in the research that your work may address. Then there's the converge or diverge technique. This is about identifying patterns or trends in the literature and seeing where your work aligns or deviates. Lastly, we discussed the departure technique. This is where you take a new or unique approach to your topic, different from what's been done before. Remember, the key to a successful literature review is to use these techniques to present a clear, organized, and balanced overview of your topic. Before we wrap up, if you found this video helpful and want to keep expanding your knowledge, consider subscribing to the Learning Sphere. We are a dedicated team, consistently working on creating a variety of educational content to help you in your academic journey. Whether it's writing techniques, study hacks, or deep dives into complex topics, we've got you covered. By subscribing, you'll stay updated with our latest videos and be part of a growing community of lifelong learners. So why wait? Join the Learning Sphere community today and keep learning.